Welcome to the Get Sculpted podcast. We're your hosts, Tiana,
Jordana,
and Marilyn.
This podcast is all about cutting through the noise and giving you the real deal on fat loss, muscle building, and what it really takes to build your 2.0 sculpted self, inside and out. Our motto is to work smarter, not harder. We'll break down science-based and actionable strategies to optimize your metabolism, ditch the diets, and create a sustainable, fit, and healthy lifestyle that actually works for you. So if you're ready to get stronger, not just skinnier, and embrace a body you love, hit that subscribe button and let's get sculpted.
Hello and welcome back to the Get Sculpted podcast. Today, we are talking about a season that so many women dread, and that is the stretch from October to January, because in that time, we've got Halloween candy, Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas parties, holiday parties, baking galore, the cookies are flowing, and it really can feel like an uphill battle trying to stay consistent when you've got all of these things coming at you one after the other. So for a lot of you, we know that you're looking at this season already feeling defeated, thinking that it's going to be a total write-off. You might as well just wait till January. So why bother? But we're here to tell you that the holidays, that's not the problem. The real problem is this all or nothing thinking that you have held for so long. The idea thinking that you can't make progress and still enjoy holiday foods. And if you can't follow your diet perfectly, then you might as well not bother at all. So today we're all about busting myths, busting the myth that holidays has to equal sabotage. And we're going to show you why starting and stopping, or what we call the yo-yo dieting trap, is the real reason you are not making progress. And because we always want to leave you with actionable steps to make change in your life, we're going to actually give you some simple strategies that you can use to enjoy this season and still make progress when it comes to your goals. So we're going to dive in, and T, I'm going to kick it right over to you because Thanksgiving weekend in Canada is coming this weekend. So I think a lot of women are already feeling like, oh my God, this holiday's coming.
It begins.
Exactly, it begins. So let's talk about maybe some of the mindset shifts that they need to kind of go into this holiday and season with. That way they don't quit before we even get started.
Okay. So girl, listening to this thinking, okay, I'm going to gain these inevitable 5 to 10 pounds over the holidays. It begins now. It's going to snowball. Here's the problem. You're thinking of your life and your fat loss journey in little snippets. And that's where this yo-yo comes in, where it's like feast or famine. And you keep repeating the same cycle, and it doesn't need to be like that. So what I want to do right now is break some of those limiting beliefs and zoom out. We don't need to be zooming into those months. Let's zoom out for a second. And what is your mindset like? What is your lifestyle like? And let's identify what a consistent 80% looks like. Because this is what we really want to challenge. Your progress actually isn't being stalled out by the holidays. It's actually your approach and how you're thinking of your eating pattern in general. Okay. So number one, coming back to the 80%, I like to always frame it as you want to be consistently good and not occasionally great.
Love that.
So I want you to think of like, if you're in that mindset right now of, okay, inevitably I'm going to eat more. Inevitably I'm going to do this. And then of course, when it's January, I'm going to go on my diet. What would it look like if you were just at a level for the whole year? Like, what would be your happy place there? And if you don't know, let's take some time to reflect. So like, what would it look like if you identified what your minimum targets are, your bare ass minimums that we always talk about? So like, let's say you're training 3 or 4 times a week. You're not doing like 6 days a week of just busting your butt when you're trying to lose weight. What would it look like if you prioritized protein at every meal, you moved your body every single day? That in our last episode, we talked about food tracking. What if you tracked your food like 80% of the time over the holidays instead of just not at all and then get back into like obsessive tracking? What would that look like? Do you guys have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's great advice.
It's kind of like the idea of finally figuring out where your middle ground is, regardless of the time of year that it is, and using every holiday as an opportunity to see, like, how would your best self show up to it?
Exactly. And this is going to be a different way than you've navigated it before. And we want to also reframe that the holidays or not being able to do something perfectly or 100% is bad.
Right.
And that you should just wait until you can do it 100%. That doesn't make any sense because there's always going to be a birthday. Right now, sure, they're kind of more consolidated together, right?
Yeah.
But there's always something. If it's not the holidays, it's the summer, or it's a birthday, or it's an event, or it's a wedding, or whatever it may be. Okay, well, what if you don't let that one day or those 3 days or even that 1 week derail you? Like if you think about the holidays, what are we talking here? Like if you celebrate them all and do big things for all of them even. Thanksgiving, Halloween,
Christmas,
Christmas.
American Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're celebrating both Thanksgivings.
And
4.
then you have New Year's.
New Year's. And then let's say
There's other holidays in there.
we'll throw in 2 more, like in the next 4 months, just to factor in like you're busy with parties and whatnot, okay? And extra Christmas parties. Okay, let's say there's 7 days where you're going to be off track. In reality, it's probably not going to be 7 entire full days. It doesn't need to be. I'm going to present that to you right now. Maybe you think it does, but what would it look like if your Christmas dinner was like super dialed in breakfast, you still moved your body, let's just say, same with Thanksgiving, and then you just had 1 meal that was larger. So if we're talking like 7 meals in 4 months, do you think that that is going to derail you?
That is such an awesome reframe because it is so true. People don't look at it from a 1 meal. They look at it from the day or even the weekend, and in some cases even a week. That it is because it's a long weekend now. So it's like, oh, that means there's 4 days that is a write-off, but
or Q4 is a write-off.
Whole quarter, yeah. It's like, we'll just start again next year. It's like, but it could actually be just a meal.
Exactly. So this is why we're telling you don't need to lose momentum just because it's not perfect, right? Sorry, Mary, we're going to add something, please.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add a personal kind of story because that on my fitness journey, that is exactly what kind of the mindset shift that I had, that epiphany moment, because I have a very large family and we actually do celebrate. So like take Canadian Thanksgiving. There was a time when I was having 3 Thanksgiving dinners. So let's just like go with that I'm going to have those 3 dinners. I'm going to allow myself to have those dinners, maybe be a bit more flexible. I very much was in the mindset of, well, those 3 days are a write-off. So yeah, you know what? After the long weekend's over, I'll kick it back into gear on Tuesday. And then once I realized exactly what you're talking about, you know, they're my dinners. So I still can get my workout in the morning and I can actually have my beautiful balanced breakfast because guess what? If I do that, I'm not going to go into that Thanksgiving dinner starving and want to eat everything on the table. I'm going in there with more control. That was probably one of the biggest shifts I made personally. And I love seeing our clients see that as well. So yeah, zooming out and looking at it in that perspective, it's like a handful of meals versus, oh my God, look at all these days and weeks that I have to be off plan. Love that.
I love that too. That's a great point, Mare. Like if it feels overwhelming, let's unpack that. I want to give people something tactical too. I tell my clients to do this with their free meals all the time. Let's say they have a busy week coming up. Let's say it's the holidays. Let's say you have 3 Thanksgiving dinners close together. What I would do is really like kind of look at it as like 1, maybe 2 of those, you just know, okay, you know, Aunt Betty isn't really going to have any lean protein, whatever. We're just, most of the time you're going to be able to find something that you can have that's like leaner and better, whatever. Maybe one of those meals you're like, I'm going to go, you know, really like all out, a little bit more indulgent. It doesn't even need to be that like all of these meals are like this massive, like I can't button my pants meals. You might make a decision that like, hey, this day I'm going to have wine with my family, or like this day I'm going to have the dessert. And you know what? When I go to this person's house, their dessert ain't that great.
Yeah.
I'm going
to skip it.
Or I'm just not going to want it. I'm good with one dessert. That's fine, right? You pick your one day that's more indulgent. And then the other days, like turkey's not going anywhere. You already had turkey before. Just enjoy the company with your family.
Yes.
And moderate the intake.
This is where I think it's so cool to watch people go through this evolution from having a scarcity mindset around food to having an abundance mindset around food. And the scarcity mindset that I'm talking about is going into these events being like, well, it's Christmas dinner or it's Halloween. Like it's one day of the whole year. I just want it to be like the most magical everythingist day that ever existed. And so you're going to say yes to everything. But you're doing that for what reason? Are you doing that because there's a specific memory tied to a specific meal or a dessert? Or is somebody a food pusher around you and they're trying to like get you to eat it? Or is it because you think that you're never going to get to have that food until next year and this is your one time to have it? Or are you going to look at it from an abundance mindset and transition to being like, this is all just food. It happens to be a holiday, but I could actually have this whenever I want. You want pumpkin pie in July? Yeah. You could actually have
You're
that.
You're a grown-up.
Yeah. Like, guess what? You can go and have it. Like,
go buy some.
Yeah, go buy it. So it's really being able to step back and be like, who's in the driver's seat here? Is it you? Or is it the food? Or is it Aunt Betty? Is that what you said? Aunt Betty who makes Aunt Betty. Horrible dessert? Like, and you're going to let her shove it down your throat? Like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah. Or you're not hungry.
Or you're not hungry, or you're now full, like you've reached your 80% and you're listening to your body, and that's fantastic. And it is just one meal. It doesn't have to be the whole day or the whole long weekend. And so reframing that to abundance, just like you would want to have an abundance mindset with money, you want to have an abundance mindset with food. It is always there. You are going to have some if you want it, and you can stop whenever you want. And building up that belief inside of you is going to make you go into those holiday dinners and days feeling confident that you can navigate it.
Well said.
I love this. And I think the big picture here is that we're trying to help you think differently about how you
Yes.
approach the holidays. And on that note, Jordan, I know that this is something that's kind of your zone of genius, like working with these women who have been in that start and stop cycle. So like, can you break down for us when we're in this cycle of like all or nothing over the holidays between October to the new year? What happens when we let this become a write-off and then you keep spinning your wheels and starting and stopping?
Yeah, like ultimately you've given up your power to a holiday. You've decided that something outside of you is of greater importance. And when we come back to the whole idea of women prioritizing themselves, this is a great example of being able to practice that. A lot of people will be like, oh, there's no way I'm going to do anything over the holidays because it's just so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so busy. And it's like, well, how would your best self show up to it? How would the 2.0 you live the holiday season? How would the fittest, healthiest you that's 85 years old and gone through this entire transformation and lived all these years, how would she want you to show up at this holiday? And being able to reframe it from what you've always done in the past you and reframe it to future you have a whole opportunity to show up as an entirely leveled up person who has different healthy habits. And it really is like, if you were to break down every month of the year, there's a holiday every single month.
Yep.
Think about it. Like literally stop for a second and think about January through December.
Yeah.
How many birthdays do you have in a month? How many date nights? How many office whatever's drinks that you have to go to? How many functions or weddings or actual holidays are there that are like public holidays and days off? What happens in summer when you're invited up to the cottage? And there can be an excuse or a reason why you don't make progress every single month. So if you let an entire 3-month period dictate that mindset for you and be like, oh, well, I couldn't do it in the summer because I was at the cottage a lot, or, you know, the kids are out of school and it's too crazy. I couldn't do it back to school because, you know, back to school is so crazy and I'm adjusting to a new routine. And then it's like, now it's October and it's like Thanksgiving and Halloween and we're going into Christmas and I can't possibly do it then. You're like back to January and you're like, oh, well, I spent all my money over the holidays and I can't do it because now it's January. And you're like, holy cow, almost a whole year has gone by. Like, when are you going to do it?
It's almost like this is your life and you just need to adapt the thing to your life, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And this is where coaching, like this is the conversations that we're always having is like, how do we adapt the goal to fit into your life? Because there is a way to do it. And listen, your progress might be slower than somebody else's because your life is a little bit different and what you need to do and how you need to do it might look differently than someone who can streamline it and be 1000% in every situation. That's fine, but that doesn't mean you can't make progress. And so I really want, as you're listening to this, really reflect and be like, where have I been holding myself back and giving the excuse of the holidays? Because you can actually enjoy the holidays and make progress at the same time. Those two things can coexist.
Yeah. And the holidays aren't going anywhere. So if you can't learn to live in harmony with these holidays, you will absolutely be stuck right where you are because you'll make a bit of progress and then fall back again. And that cycle is exhausting. And the other thing just that I was thinking about while you were talking, Jordan, is it's also not a way to enjoy the holidays.
No,
Like there's so many women who have told me that and I did it, where you'd be there physically in body, but your mind would be obsessing over the food and this and that. And what am I going to have to do? Oh, I'm going to have to go on the treadmill for this long because I ate this. And that noise just doesn't stop. So it's like, are you actually even enjoying the holiday?
and the shame,
And also, it doesn't need to be all about food.
it doesn't. And also the shame that people can hold on to, being like, I've had conversations with clients where they're like, I didn't follow through on the plan. I ended up eating all of these things. I feel
Yes.
so horrible. I'm such a bad person. And it's like, no, you're not a bad person. You're a person who had a plan. You went in, you didn't follow through with the plan. Now let's take that data, that
Yeah.
information as data, and figure
Yeah.
out what went wrong. How do we change what we need to do from that time to the next time so that you can go in with a slightly different game plan and make more progress? Because if you set the habits first, you frame your mindset, you set the habits, you figure out how I want to navigate it, you have the confidence to actually stand up for yourself and follow through in those moments, that is never a failure.
Yeah.
Never.
Exactly.
You've won that situation. So now you're building confidence and you have evidence that you've done it. You can apply that in future situations, whether it's the holidays between October and December or any other day of the year.
I love that.
I love that too.
With that note, this is so perfect, the tie-in on diets and willpower and starting over. If those aren't really the solution, Mare, what is? Like, can you talk to us about some of those strategies? Let's get tactical.
We've already dropped a few of these little truth bombs. So some of this is going to be a bit of review. First, it's the reframing. So I think we've talked about that. We want to reframe the holidays to realize that this is something you can absolutely navigate instead of, oh, it's chaos, I'm just going to have to wait until January. So first thing is start with a baseline. We've made references before, your BAMs, right? Your bare ass minimums. So have those baselines, decide what your non-negotiables are, and then commit to those. But the key here is no matter what. So you can decide what those BAMs look like. I mean, some examples could be, you're going to commit to hitting your protein every day, or making sure that no matter how crazy the week gets, I'm definitely going to get, 3 workouts in this week, whatever it is. But you use those BAMs to anchor you. So it does not matter how many parties, how many events, how many this and that. You keep to those BAMs because that's what's going to keep you going. The momentum is going to keep going because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're starting and stopping. It's also much harder to gear yourself back up to start again once you've let yourself down. So set your baseline or your BAMs, protect that time, protect those BAMs, and that's what's going to keep you moving forward. The second one is, we've kind of talked about this too, plan for the extras that you might have instead of restricting and avoiding. Because think about a child. When you say, don't touch that, don't do that, what do they want to do? They want to do exactly what you said not to do. And that's the same with us. When we tell ourselves we cannot eat something or I better not, you're going to spend the whole time there just looking at it, salivating, being like, that's all I want. That's all I can think of. So plan for the extras. And what I suggest to my clients is look at your calendar, see what events you have coming up. So you alluded to this, you might have a ton of different events.
Yes.
Which ones matter to you the most? Whatever those are, decide ahead of time that you are going to enjoy what's there and make it intentional instead of a free-for-all. So like you said, if it's Aunt Betty or if it's your grandma, whoever it is, if they make that pumpkin pie that you're absolutely obsessed with, maybe it means saying, okay, I'm going to have that pumpkin pie, but then I'm not going to have all those random
from
friggin'
Costco.
cookies in the break room at work.
I mean, the Costco desserts are good, just to clarify, but they're always at Costco.
Exactly. So you're intentional. And then the best part is you can enjoy that, whatever it is, let's say pumpkin pie, guilt-free. And you don't have to sit there miserable thinking, I have to work this off tomorrow on the treadmill or next week or whatever it is. So that's the second one. The third thing is stay active, right? Movement and exercise. It's not a punishment for eating. So no, you do not have to go work off anything that you ate, but lock in those workouts. Pick a BAM, right? 2-3 workouts, whatever it is, protect that time. The other thing that's really fun, George, you've talked about this on other episodes, is make time for movement as a family. So maybe there's some holiday traditions that you can do. Some people do football and stuff. I don't do sports, but you know what I mean? Maybe there's things that you can do with your family. Go for a walk, go for a hike. There's so many things you can do to get movement in. And the fourth thing is have a bounce back plan. So
this is the most important.
If things go off the rails, if you overindulge, don't spiral. We've said it, one meal, that's not going to erase your progress. But using the holidays as your excuse to just eat whatever you want, that will absolutely stall you out. So if things don't go as planned, get back right on and just keep going. Reset those baselines, those BAMs, and keep going. And one last thing, actually, I will add, I was going to leave it at 4, but it's just go into the holidays with that mindset that it does not have to derail me. George, you already said 2 things can be true at once. You can be on track and you can enjoy the season. So all of those strategies are going to help you do that. Anything you girls want to add or kind of elaborate on with those?
I would say just remember that even if you're not perfect, it's still worth putting in the effort. So in other words, you don't need to go full throttle for things to be effective. Maybe you go into the season with the intention of maintenance. We always talk about this with our clients. I think that's very reasonable, especially if over the holidays, most of our girls, I would say, are not aiming to really accelerate fat loss. And if that's the case, then be intentional about what decisions you're making and what's going to keep the momentum moving forward, even if it's not at full throttle.
And I guess my final thought would be if you're used to being that starting and stopping cycle, like this can be the season that you choose to break it. Like this could be the time that you look back and be like, wow, that was a really important year for me. I learned how to do this differently so that you can enjoy the holidays. You can stay consistent. You can be there with your core habits that you're practicing over and over, and you can have the momentum that can actually springboard you into a new year, and you can actually go into that new year feeling amazing.
I love it.
I love that. And think just how empowering it is to be able to go into these holidays knowing I can live life, enjoy my family, the holiday, and I can still make progress while I'm doing it. Well, thank you for tuning in today. We hope that you are walking away from this episode understanding that the season does not have to be a write-off. You can love all the things that you're doing around this time of year and still be on track. And as always, if this episode hit home, share it with a friend because we know that this year can be a struggle for a lot of women. And we would love it if you screenshot this episode once you listen to it, share it, tag us on Instagram, and maybe even let us know what strategy you're committing to this holiday season, which was the big breakthrough for you. Talk to you soon. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Get Sculpted. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take the next step in your fitness journey. Remember, building your 2.0 body is a unique journey for you. It's about showing up for yourself consistently and not being perfect.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review and tag us on social at getsculpted.ca. Your feedback helps us reach more women like you who are ready to cut through the noise and make lasting changes.
For more daily tips, inspiration, and behind-the-scenes content, follow us on Instagram and check out our handles in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Get Sculpted. Until then, remember this: getting sculpted isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter.